Now, here is a question. I do not know the answer to this. Ken and I have had very little communicado for the past 3 weeks, and I mean very little. Somehow, mysteriously, Ken was editing our latest podcast,
Well,
and yet you were not staying in hotels.
right.
Can you explain how you were able to do that? Like, where did you get electricity, internet?
Well, I mean, like I say, I was editing at Mike's place, so I was visiting my friend
Oh
Mike.
yeah.
he,
So
I
you were
was
staying with
I
Mike.
was staying with my friend Mike.
Got it.
He had a
I didn't know you
plug
were
that I.
I didn't know you were staying with him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I stayed with him
I
for a couple
I just
days.
I was picturing you guys on the boat. I'm like, Ken's editing and fishing at the,
That's
you know, or like
Wanna be cool. I don't ever wanna be man. Breathe this sky so blue. So much beauty under the streets. Life is so simple. I can feel sun on my face, and the night let go its embrace, and I still have one foot on the road, and there's still so much I don't know. When you smile, smile back at me. I can feel a wave breaking over me.
So then you leave Portland and then you go where?
Boise, Idaho.
Boise.
So I could have gone north to Seattle. Of course, you want to see Seattle, but I've been to Seattle
Now,
a number of
now the
times.
picture, the puzzle, I'm beginning to like. I started off with 3 pieces to a puzzle that needed 100 pieces, but now I've gotten a few more pieces. One of your texts, all I know, it involved an Albertsons. I knew you were editing,
Right.
right? We had a little thing where you needed some footage, and that's the extent that I know. You were editing at an Albertsons. Does
Well,
that ring a bell? Am I right about that?
yes, I was there. I do remember it. I was there.
Okay. And to me, when I think Albertsons, it's a grocery store. I'm just gonna go with it. Was it an Albertsons grocery store?
Yeah, Albertson's
Okay, you're gonna
well,
have to
well, yeah.
explain
I mean,
this one,
yes and
Ken.
no. So, uh, I went. So I'm in Boise. So I go from Portland southeast to Boise. Now, Boise is fantastic. So Boise is the
Okay.
Chico of
Oh.
medium-sized big cities.
Oh, and that's a compliment.
Yeah. Now,
Right.
Portland is the Chico of big cities.
Okay. Good
Boise, not
analogy.
as big as Portland, but fantastic. So, uh, Portland, fantastic. Boise,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh.
And so I had rolled into Portland, or rolled into Boise, and I hadn't eaten much that day. And so I went to a Safeway and I bought a thing of fried chicken,
Okay.
a box of fried chicken.
Okay.
And what else did I get? The fried chicken and and some chips. And then as I'm going to the counter, or the checkout, they're playing Rush on the radio. I mean, on the sound system. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, this is a cool town when they're playing Rush in the grocery
Right.
store.
Okay.
So then I find a place to sleep that night, which was not a hotel. Sold out. Boise sold out.
Okay.
You could not get a room for under $300 for
Oh.
200 miles around
Wow.
Boise.
I never would have guessed it, but apparently Boise's hotter and hipper than I would have
Exactly.
imagined.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was the week leading up to 4th of July, so I think there's a lot of, people taking advantage of the summer,
What
but it
what
was
is the
sold
draw around
out.
Boise? Why do people go to Boise? Is it near something that a landmark I'm not aware of?
Not a
It's
landmark,
too
just
far from Yellowstone, right? Yellowstone is
oh,
far,
oh yeah, it's
isn't it?
still yeah, no, it's a ways away, but it's near the mountains. So Boise is just near the mountains. So it's not the thing about Boise. The downside of Boise is that it's not near anything. It's like 600 miles from
Yeah.
Portland. It's 600 miles from Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Like normally, if you go 600 miles, you're gonna hit a Los Angeles or a Chicago. 600
Yeah.
miles from Boise, you get a Salt Lake City. I mean, you're not really stepping up that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside about Boise is how remote it is. But because it's remote, there's woods and mountains and streams and rivers, and
Okay.
that's all very appealing.
Yeah. Now, fill me in again about the Albertsons. I'm still very curious.
Okay, so
Just the text, I'm editing at an Albertsons. I'm like, huh? Like,
right.
what?
So I found a place to sleep that night,
Okay.
and not a hotel, but my car working great. Um, Find a secluded little spot and
Do you have the top up when you sleep, or you
it
put the top
it's 50-50.
down or up?
If
Oh,
I'm out in the wilds, I have the top down, and if I'm in a city, I put the top up.
okay.
Out of respect, try to be respectful.
That would be odd. You're right, like in a lot in a city with the top down, sleeping. I mean, oh man.
But it really works great. I mean, it's much more comfortable than I thought it was going to be, so I really took to it. But so I find a place to sleep. The next morning, the thing is, at Mike's place, I'm editing episode 3, and I still have more to edit. Like, I was this close to being done, but
Uh,
I wasn't done. I'm like,
and you're wearing out your welcome. You had to
exactly.
get the heck out of
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, now what am I going to do? And I was going to get a hotel. Like I'm gonna find a hotel. I'm gonna set my
Okay.
computer down.
$300. You can't spend
Well,
$300.
not 300. That's the thing. I'd spend 150, but not
Yeah.
300. And so I was kind of between a rock and a hard place. And so because I remember the Albertsons before, I go back to there was a side of Albertsons. Oh no, I was getting ice. That's what it was. I needed ice for my cooler. So I get up that morning from my overnight, and I go back to
Oh.
Albertsons to get ice. And as I'm going to Albertsons, I notice on the right hand side there's some steps leading up, and I'm like, well, why are there steps? Is this where the ice is? And so I walk up the steps, and it's a whole restaurant. Like down,
Oh.
literally downstairs in the Albertsons, there's a Starbucks, so you can do whatever Starbucks things you want. But there's these steps, and you go up, and it's a whole restaurant, and you look out you go in the restaurant and there's a bar and there's tables, and then you look at the one side and you see Albertsons. And you see all the aisles of Albertsons.
Okay. So it's a restaurant within the Albertsons.
Within Albertsons, and the employees of the restaurant are Albertsons employees.
Did you do what I think you did?
What do you think?
You brought your computer.
Oh yeah. First I asked. It's like, hey, I've got some work to do. Is it okay? Like, can I like bring a computer here? They're like, oh yeah, sure, come on in. I'm like, well, but it's not a laptop. I'm not bringing a laptop. It's a
And
and,
so,
and they still don't
yeah,
know what I'm
go
talking about. They still don't really know. They're like, oh, fine, doesn't matter,
Bring
yeah,
it
whatever you
in.
like. And then I come carrying this big.
yeah.
This
So
is
you
big
have a
iMac.
27-inch monitor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you brought your 27-inch monitor
Yeah,
into the restaurant
yeah,
above Albertsons,
right.
set it up,
Yeah,
started editing.
yeah. You make it sound like that's unusual.
No, I mean that's what you call in not industrial, but not ingenious, but
Industrious.
industrious. Really, I had two words. If I'd only used
You're
first
very
half of one
close.
word and the second half of the other, I
Close.
would have nailed it. I could have nailed it.
Yeah.
Can we edit it where I said industrious?
Yeah.
Like do some fancy editing?
You make it sound like that's unusual.
No, I mean that's what you call industrious. So you bring the 27-inch monitor up a flight of stairs, set up, start editing.
Yeah.
How'd
and
that go?
And now this is a Sunday, and like there's nobody there. I mean, there's only a couple people there, so I'm like, okay, this is cool. I can set up in a corner. Everything's great. It's a Sunday daytime at Albertsons. Not much going on, and I'm working away. And then like an hour later, people start showing up, and now it's like 2 in the afternoon, and the Albertsons restaurant is full. And then a band shows up. I think it's only a 2-piece, but 2 people show up playing instruments. Now I'm trying to edit at this nightclub where there's this live music.
It turned into a club.
Yeah. Now, luckily, they had a like an annex, like an office space annex that was empty, and the music was really, really good, but it was loud. I'm trying to hear what we're saying. It's loud, and so I go to the people. I'm like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, hey, you know
okay.
this empty room over here? Would you mind if I brought my computer in that room? And they're like, oh, fine, go ahead, no problem.
They let you go into a side room
Yeah.
and edit. Wow. Wow.
So.
Talk about cool.
Yeah, no, they were very good.
Gee.
Those Albertsons people, man, they're top notch.
So that's how we got the edit
That's
done.
right.
Thanks to Albertsons for that.
Right.
Wow. Cool. And then so you love Boise. What else do you love about it other than the people at Albertsons are really cool? But what other
Well,
else
the
do
thing
you
that
love
makes
about
this
it?
city great, there's about 4 main things. It's the downtown, it's the neighborhoods, it's the amenities, and what's the fourth thing? Well, the people.
Well, the people.
Yeah,
people
you
are
really
cool.
can't. But me, I'm fast paced. I'm not really able to engage the people all that much. But I can assess the generalities.
You're zipping through town.
Exactly.
Now, the amenities, what do you mean by amenities? What's an amenity?
Rivers, museums, art galleries, green space,
Okay.
parks, those things.
Cool.
And actually one of those 4, like one of those 4 may be trees. I think it's downtown, neighborhoods, trees, which is different than amenities because you just want
different category.
different
That's a different
category.
category.
But then things like museums, parks, things like that. And so Boise, again, all tens. Got a river running right through town, beautiful crystal clear river. They got two nice green parks that run right along the river. You can go drive your car, park it, walk across the grass, bring a towel, lie it down, go jump in the
Okay.
river. It's fantastic.
Now I mentioned we had like 3 bits of communicado
Mm.
along your journey. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it might have been 4 or 5, right?
Hmm.
We did have a very quick phone call. And again, you were in Boise and we were editing and we are at crunch time. And you mentioned, and I think I got it right. I'm like, Ken, where are you? I'm at a Marriott, Courtyard
Oh,
Marriott.
that's
They have the right
right.
hotel. And I'm thinking, oh, great. Pay 150, $200, get a shower, a warm
Hmm.
bed, and you go, oh no, I'm not staying at the
Still
Marriott.
$300. I can't afford $300.
And I'm like, what? And you're like, I asked the manager, the night manager, is it okay if I work in the lobby?
Well,
And I just went with it. I'm like, okay, Ken, you needed a file or something. I'm like, I'm uploading it on Dropbox right now. You got it under control. Tell me about, do I have the hotel right? And you did not pay 175 bucks for a night stay at Courtyard. Is that
right, no,
correct?
because again, everything was sold out. It would have been 350 to stay there. No,
So
actually, that
you
place was sold out completely. I could not have stayed there regardless.
you have more chutzpah than me.
I had nearly finished at the Albertsons, and actually, I got to say, there was another place. Uh, it was I did a coffee shop first because I thought, oh well, I don't have. Oh well, the thing is, I go to Boise, get a hotel room, plug in your computer, and just edit for a couple days in the hotel room. Well,
Hmm.
all the hotel rooms are sold out, so I can't do that. So I think, okay, well, let's do a coffee shop like a Starbucks because they let you work in Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm driving down the road and I see a coffee shop. It's not a Starbucks. It's maybe we'll put the name down here because they were very nice. I walk in. I'm like,
Oh,
hey, um, are you kind of like a Starbucks where I can work here if I have some coffee? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so uh, I can bring my computer in. They're like, oh yeah, sure. So the same thing. Go ahead and work, but I'm like, okay, but it's not a laptop. Yeah. So, but I always ask. So I work at a
yeah.
coffee shop one day. I work at the
Uh,
Albertsons the next day.
mm.
Almost finished, but not quite. So then, oh, that's no, we no, that's right. We were finished, but had to upload it, and so
Oh,
I needed
okay.
Wi-Fi to upload it. And so I'm like,
Oh,
where am I going to
okay.
go to upload? I don't want to go back to the Albertsons. I mean, they were nice people, but I can't go back
You
to
you push
Albertsons.
the boundary as far as you can
Exactly.
push it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
The
so
band was
I'm
jamming
thinking,
out.
okay, well, I've done the coffee shop, I've done the, the grocery store. What what other avenue is available? I'm like, oh, a hotel because that's where I wanted to go in the first place. I wanted to go to a hotel, but I just don't have a room. So I walked in. I'm like, so I'm wondering if you can help me. I'm looking for a room. Like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we're sold out. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I had a feeling, um, but I still have some work to do. Do you see that desk over there? if I could just sit at that desk for a couple hours, that would, and I'd have a room. Like, I'd take a room if you had one, but you don't have one. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. If you need that desk, go ahead and use that desk. So
Wow.
that's what I did.
You know, it was to your advantage that they were sold out. Like if they had rooms available, but they were $300 a night,
Yeah.
you couldn't go, I don't want to pay the money. But you
Right.
look like a guy that
That's right.
you would have taken the American Express card out and paid,
Yeah.
but they didn't have the room available.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you set up your computer at a desk and you just
Yeah.
at the Courtyard Marriott. Wow. Kudos to Courtyard.
Yeah. No, they're all very, very friendly people there in Boise.
Wow.
Like,
And
they're
see the lengths that I
top
want to
of.
talk to the viewers for a minute.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
See the lengths that we will go to get the podcast up for you guys to view. Like Ken, I thought he was goofing off. I really did for 3 weeks. I thought he was just sleeping under the stars and drinking a good beer. But apparently he was working his tail
Working
off.
hard, man. Working hard.
I wanna tell her that I don't care if she's late. I wanna tell her I might not be there today. Who's the crowd in this little phone booth right downtown? Right downtown. I wanna tell her that I don't care if she's late. I wanna tell her I might not be there today.
So it took a little bit of work, but we got the final edit finished. We got it uploaded to Dropbox, and you got it at that point, and then the world got to see it.
Yeah.